To us, magic sounds like this extraordinary thing, pulling a rabbit out of the hat, coming out of nowhere. But it's here, it's real, and the more that we are open to the unseen, to the energies of this world, to abundance and manifesting, to calling in and growing, the more we'll be able to call magic into our lives. Join me as I share stories, wisdom, and curiosity around connecting with your higher frequency, tapping into the synchronicities of the universe, and opening up to the unseen possibilities that this world has to offer. I am your host, Dayna Faye, and this is the Ordinary Magic Podcast. I was in the shower today and thinking about ordinary magic and this podcast and contemplating if somebody asks me why I felt such a need to do this podcast. And I started going over the conversation of telling them that I'm a performer. And when I was younger, I performed in regards to music. I took voice lessons from 4th grade onwards. I played an instrument. I did many concerts and solos and was able to get in front of a crowd of people and sing my heart out and maybe even do a little bit of action with it and really perform. And that's what I found when I jumped on this mic for the first time ever as just for fun. I recorded a solo podcast episode and I enjoyed it so much. So anyway, I was thinking about how I was a performer and how then, I graduated high school, went off to college, started in music performance. But like many people do through college, kind of quit that major, started business, then picked up music again as a minor, just discovering what it is I wanted to do. And soon in my 20s, I wasn't a performer anymore. And I think I always thought I could only perform as a singer. But the truth is I am and always will be a performer. And there's so many different avenues of ways to perform. And really, what a performer is somebody who's expressing themselves. And they can express themselves as their own self, or they can put on this costume or this archetype and play a role, which I think can be really fun and that most people want to do that. Anyway, the reason I'm jumping on here is to tell a story about when I was in 5th grade. And this memory came up. I haven't thought about this in such a long time, but our 5th grade choir was preparing for a concert, and the dress rehearsal before the concert, our teacher, her name was Mrs. Harmelink, at the time, she's married now, she said to us, "Okay, this is all so great. You guys did such a wonderful job, but for the performance, let's put a little bit of personality into this. Do a little bit of, performing the song." And because I was in voice lessons at the time, and my teacher was just teaching me how to perform a song, not just sing it, but use my arms and facial expressions and put actions to it. We got to the concert, and I took what she said so literal that in this huge choir, in this group of, I don't know how many students it would have been, let's say 40 kids, I decided to perform the concert. And instead, all the kids were looking towards her, towards the director, and I was looking out at the crowd. I didn't put my arms in the air, but I was totally moving my head and facial expressions. And I took what she said so literal. I was on stage doing one of my solos and just started performing my heart out at these songs. And I chuckle at this memory because I really reflecting back on it. I feel like 5th grade is the last grade of me as a child with this innocence and this spirit, and still this child where life didn't really drag her down or make her insecure or make her fit into a certain mold or a certain friend group. And I remember getting done with that concert and my parents hanging out with another group of parents, and those parents being like, "Oh wow, Dayna was really animated for that concert." And I think even the director might have said something. I'm not sure. Maybe she didn't. Maybe it was just my parents' friends. But, they were like, oh, she just, she really just had a mind of her own there. She was very animated. And it was the first time that I overheard that and felt like insecure and felt like, oh, yeah, I guess I was the only one that was like performing that out super animated. I mean, our teacher told us to do it, but I don't think she meant it that literal. And my like innocent kid heart just like totally went for it. And yeah, I just thought of that memory and I wanted to share it and just to reflect on like how amazing is it to have that time in your childhood where you were just so innocent and you didn't overthink things and you took some feedback and just went for it. And I'm just thinking of my daughter as she turns a year and a half old and as a baby and as this toddler now, we us adults can be like walking through such difficult times, and she comes home and she is just like so spirited and so happy, and oh man, it's just so fun to see. It really is. And I think we all could do with reflecting on your childhood a little bit more and like trying to remember, what is it that you really loved to do? What made you you? How did you like to express? Were you more quiet and reserved? Did you just enjoy reading your books and like going into that world? Or did you enjoy, putting on some music and performing it in your bedroom by yourself? That was me. Did you just enjoy spending time in nature? Did you actually really love spending time with your siblings or with your parents? What made you you from childhood to maybe around that 5th grade, 6th grade age? What is that age? Like 10 or 11 years old? Where did that sparkly essence go? What did you do that created that sparkly essence? And can we all invite that back a little more and a little more without being scared and insecure? Reality shows came out like in regards to American Idol and things like that when I was around 16 years old, if I can remember correctly. And I just remember that making me so insecure. Here in my small town in Wisconsin, I was like, yeah, I love performing. I think I'm a great singer. I'm a great musician. And then as soon as I started watching people out there in the world who were like Beyonce level, it just, it brought me down. And it gave me a reason not to seek performance anymore. And who was that hurting? Only myself, I think. Really. I love expressing. I love performing. Even when I was a child, I took a little local theater acting class, and all I was a dog in the 3 skits that we learned that year. They said it was because I was new and everybody else had been there a couple summers in a row. But man, I performed the shit out of that dog. It didn't even have some lines in most of the skits, and I was barking and, sticking my tongue out and just like being such a dog. And I remember everybody saying how great I was. And again, I think that was like the summer before 6th grade when, I don't know, everything just started to change. And you let things scare you or you tried to fit in more. But I did. I loved to perform. I even loved being that dog. And that's why I'm behind this microphone today, because I want to perform again. And this is going to be one of my outlets. My goal is to bring performance into my life in a way where it doesn't matter if nobody else sees it. Is the performance just behind the book that I read my daughter that night? Do I do voices or use my hands? Is my performance around the campfire when my family and I are camping and, probably my husband pulls out the guitar because I still need to work on that? Where can we invite performance into our life? I wonder if we can just think of the things that we loved to do when we were younger, the things that we loved to express and tap into this kind of flow, this kind of performative thing. I mean, that can even be art, drawing, sketching, knitting, and try to do more of that because it feels good. It feels really good.
Actually, as I'm saying this, I have an example from a recent vacation we took. We were at an all-inclusive resort in Cancun, Mexico, and I stumbled upon a little art class that mostly only kids were attending one day, but it was a free art class for adults and kids, and it was this figure. You create this animal out of different shapes, so like the head could be a cat, and the body of a bird, and the feet of, a dinosaur, and a tail and wings. And anyway, I got to take all these different parts of the animal, and the person running it helped me glue it together. And then I sat and painted it, and he described how like the painting should be vibrant, pick like 3 colors that really go together and embellish it. And I did that without worrying about what it was going to turn out like. I did it with a kid-like feeling, with these kid glasses on. And so I did this project, and when I got done, I cannot believe the amount of excited energy that it brought into the rest of my day. I didn't even bring the project home. I didn't take a photo of it. I didn't post it on Instagram. But the sparkly energy that it created in me for the rest of the day was undeniable. Yeah, I'm just reflecting on that right now. Like, that was a really cool example of something that could seem ordinary, but really turned out to be magical in regards to fueling the rest of the day. I think I even skipped once or twice on our way back to the hotel. I know Jamie, our producer, is like the president of student council and loved organizing things and being a leader. And now she's created this production company called the Lit Path Studios and wants to be a leader for women who want to get their podcasts going and she wants to help them light their path, to forge their way. So that's a way of her bringing her sparkly kid-like essence into her current life and her current work. It's so cool. I'll leave it there. Just wanted to jump on here and talk about performance and how excited I am to keep performing, but also to bring it into other areas of my life as well, and to encourage you to bring it into your life. So, 1, contemplate on how you were as a kid and what kind of expression came through you just naturally. What did you love to express? And 2, how can you bring that more into your life?
Ordinary Magic is a Lit Path Studios podcast and is produced by Jamie Gale and Dayna Faye. Music is by Shane Ivers. Until next time, I wish you many powerful moments of ordinary magic.